go.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to you, Cantor, Peicott. Shabbat shalom to everyone. What a beautiful beginning.
Thank you.
And I want to say a word before. No, I'm going to say it later. Forget it. I have an idea for later. Let's bring on Keller and Benjamin and their families. There they are.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys. Shabbat shalom. So nice to have you with us.
We're so glad to be with you tonight, and we're so proud of you. And Ben, Keller, Mazel tov in advance. I promise you're going to make it. I promise. Okay?
They're
Don't
ready.
you worry.
They're solid.
Yeah. All right. We lost Benjamin. Benjamin, where are you?
Hopefully they'll come back.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we're just gonna.
I hope he's not making a run for it.
His Torah sounds good. He shouldn't make a run for it. So we're gonna invite everyone at home to go ahead and bring in the Shabbat light with us. Let's see. I'm outside, so let's see if this works.
Good luck. You need a hurricane lantern on top of those.
I know. Okay, we're gonna bring in that much needed Shabbat light this week 3 times. Once for ourselves, once for our friends and family, and once for what can seem like
difficulties.
That's okay.
Well,
we're about to light the Shabbat candles. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay, so once for ourselves, once for our friends and families, and once for everyone in the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom, everyone. If you have your Kiddush cup, we hold it in the palm of our hands because our cup overflows with love and family and friends and the community we have here tonight. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zeichel yitziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim, everyone.
L'chaim.
And last but not least, we have that beautiful challah, those 2 beautiful chalot in front of us, and we're going ahead and make motzi for those of us who are at home, who are about to enjoy a Shabbat meal with our families. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon and Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We're so excited to celebrate with you all tomorrow. Mazal tov. Enjoy the evening with your family. And don't sweat it. You guys are great. You've got it under control.
You're going to be great. See you tomorrow, Ben.
Bye.
Okay. Keller, Mazel tov. Good luck to you. Shabbat shalom.
We're going to continue to bring in Shabbat together and receive Shabbat with the words of Shalom Aleichem. We invite the angels into our home, into our community to bless us on this Shabbat. 1 second. Technical difficulties. And now we're good. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We need Shabbat every week, but some weeks we really need it more than others. And this has been one of those weeks. Before we went live, Cantor, Peicott, and I were talking about this greeting, Shabbat Shalom, welcome to the Sabbath, a Sabbath of peace, and how anxious the nation has been this past week. And she mentioned to me that it's difficult to embrace Shabbat in these circumstances, to which I replied, difficult, but required. We are literally commanded to enjoy Shabbat. We are literally commanded to leave the week behind and to pause and to enjoy the beauty of Shabbat, the beauty of being together as a family and a community, the beauty of creation, the beauty of life and love. And for me, my kind of ritual for putting the past week behind me is what we're about to do, which is to sing Lecha Dodi, which is the welcoming, metaphorically, of the Sabbath bride into our midst. And we even stand for the last verse and face the entrance of our synagogues, tonight, of course, the entrance of our homes, to literally push out the week that has passed and bring in the beauty of Shabbat. And again, I want to say that it's literally a commandment to embrace and enjoy the beauty and the peace of Shabbat. So let's just take a moment, take a very deep breath, and let that week go as we now welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 pnei Shabbat nekabelai, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 pnei Shabbat nekabelai. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ולי תחילה. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 pnei Shabbat nekabelai. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor haberacha, merosh v'kedem mesucha, sof na'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We take a moment and we rise for the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. One more time, bring in Shabbat. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
So beautiful. Now I'm ready. I've left the week behind. I've embraced Shabbat. I hope all of you at home have as well. And when we're ready, there's actually a we're ready to pray prayer, which we call the Baruch Hu. So please rise now for the Baruch Hu.
Lai, 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 ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד, המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. In just a moment, we're going to recite the words of the Shema together. And we did this at the beginning of the service. But I want you to close your eyes and I want you to listen. Focus on the sounds in your room, wherever it is that you're watching, and try to still yourself so much that you might even be able to hear that beating of our heart. When we listen to all of those around us, and when we listen to the voices that are deep inside of us, that good voice, that still small voice, that we can finally be one. Shema Yisrael, we recite together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vayed. We join together in the words of the Ve'ahavta, words of action that we do. One of the most important ones is that we teach our tradition to our children, so that even in our generation, we see people, we see adults making mistakes left and right in our government, in our world, that we know that we can pass on the future and the hope to our children. We join together in the words of the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. So this week in the Torah, we begin a new book. We begin Shemot, the Exodus story, which we all know so well, the Passover story. But there's one story of when the Israelites were preparing to leave. Moses told them that they had to go, and Miriam and the women thought to pack their timbrels. Now, if we were all told to pack our most precious items, the things that we ultimately needed, perhaps a timbrel isn't something that we would put into our pack. But Miriam and the women knew that whatever challenges faced that were ahead of them, whatever they faced, whatever obstacles, whatever darkness lay before them, that there was going to be a way to the other side, and that we always have that hope that tomorrow is going to be better. And so we have a video sung by our Sheer Joy Youth Choir. What better way to celebrate the hope, and even if we face a dark time in our life, that we know that there will be a time for us to grab our timbrels from our packs and to celebrate as one. So this is Micha Mocha with the Sheer Joy Youth Choir.
Beautiful. I'm glad I left the week behind. I feel so much better. Hashkivenu. In just a moment, we're going to enter into our Hashkivenu prayer. Beautiful track and video. A word about peace. Hashkivenu is our hope that we lie down in peace and rise up in peace. And I want to say a word about peace. We tend to think of peace as the absence of conflict. But that is a very, very shallow understanding of peace. The absence of conflict is not peace in the deepest sense of the word. It is not shalom in the deepest sense of peace. It's détente. It's not shalom. Real peace is an environment in which differences do exist, but they coexist in a peaceful and respectful way. That is real peace in the deepest meaning of the word. And it's that peace that we pray for tonight in our hearts, in our families, and in our nation.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, ve'ha'amidenu malkeinu lechayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Morning's light, teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
The next section of our service is called the Amidah, the standing prayers. And it's a time for us all, I think, to really think deeply about what we stand for. What do we really, truly stand for? That's what I'm going to be thinking about as we chant the Amidah this evening. And as Jews, it's pretty clear what we should stand for, which is justice and humility and the real peace that I spoke of a few moments ago. So let us all stand now for the best of our tradition and the best of our nation and the best within us. Let's rise for the Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agite ilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Oh, you're muted.
I had a professor of American Jewish history when I was in rabbinical school. His name was Jacob Rader Marcus. He was 90 years old when he was my professor. And he said something very simple and very profound to me one day in class because I was a very aggressive student. That might not surprise most of you. I was always in the front row, raising my hand, wanting to engage. And he looked at me during one class and he said, boy, he called everyone boy because he at that age couldn't remember anyone's name. He said, boy, I never learned anything while I was talking. I never learned anything while I was talking. What he was trying to teach me was to listen, to be quiet and to listen. And listening can involve both listening to others, but also taking the time to pause and breathe and reflect and slow down and listen to ourselves, our heart, our longings, our fears, and our hopes. And there's a time for that in every service called the silent Amidah, the time when we pause to really listen to our hearts. So let us now enter into some moments of powerful silence.
We have a commemoration each year which commemorates and memorializes the destruction of the Second Temple, and that's Tisha B'Av. And after Tisha B'Av, we read a series of haftarot, of words from the prophets, from the prophet Isaiah. And one of the first haftarot that we read opens with the words, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, give comfort, my people. And I think for a lot of us this week, seeing our state capital desecrated, the very foundation of who it is that we feel proud of to be Americans, the very seat of democracy, that just like our ancestors must have felt when that second temple was destroyed, we feel hopeless, we feel broken. But what we can learn from Tisha B'Av and from the prophet Isaiah is that comfort, that security, that hope, that it comes from one another. It comes from each of us taking time to comfort and to repair. Because as Jewish people, we always have hope. We always look towards the future. And so tonight I offer you those words from the prophet of Nachamu Ami. May we rebuild together as a country. Right now we're extremely broken, but I have hope, and I believe that together, if we truly see each other as B'Tselem Elohim, made in the image of God, and we take the time to understand all of these different voices, that we can rebuild our temple, so to speak, our government, our seat of democracy, and we can rebuild as Americans. So I offer the words of Nachamu Ami. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem. 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 Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle to take care of one another. Comfort us in our wilderness. Comfort us as we struggle with this world. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami Yomar Elohechem.
Before we sing the Mishaberach tonight, which I think most of us watching tonight know is our healing prayer, the prayer that we recite on behalf of people we love who are suffering and need some healing, I want to make a strange request. Sometime this weekend, I want us all to pray with our finger. Abraham Joshua Heschel, when he was walking across the bridge the march in Selma with Martin Luther King arm in arm, said he was praying with his feet. It's one thing to pray with words. It's another thing to act on our prayers, to pray in essence with our bodies, with our being, our corporeal being. So we're going to sing the Hashkivenu tonight and pray for healing for the people we love who are suffering. And there is an awful lot of loss and suffering and therefore healing that needs to go on now in our lives. Everyone during this global pandemic, everyone in our country, everyone in our city, everyone in our temple, everyone is suffering loss. Some, the loss of life, the loss of the life of a loved one. Some, the loss of freedom. All of us, the loss of our sense of invulnerability. Some, the loss of a job. Our children have lost the right to go to school, which is where we know they all need to be and belong. The loss of the ability just to simply hug and hold and be held by the people we love. So much loss. So in addition to praying and singing the Mishaberach tonight, I want us all to make a commitment to pray this weekend with our finger, the way Heschel prayed with his feet. And by that I mean, think of someone now who needs healing as we sing the Mishaberach, and then sometime this weekend, reach out to that person. Take your finger, take your hand, click the mouse, dial the phone, and literally reach out to the person you're praying for tonight and speak with them and tell them you love them and that they're not alone because they're in your heart and in your thoughts. So we're going to pray with our voices and our hearts tonight. And then in a day or two, we're going to pray with our finger. Mishaberach.
Mishaberach avotenu mekol habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekol habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. You're muted.
I just haven't gotten great at that unmuting part of all of this yet. Thank you, Cantor Peicott. Very beautiful. Thank you so much for my words tonight about our Torah portion. We begin a new book of the Torah, the book of Exodus, and it contains that famous story of the Exodus, the story we all know. A new Pharaoh arises in Egypt who didn't know of the loyalty and patriotism and ability of Joseph, and who saw the Jewish people as a threat. And it is the beginning of the first attempted genocide of the Jewish people. When the Pharaoh says to the midwives who tend to the Hebrew women that when these women give birth, I'm commanding you, says the Pharaoh, to these two Hebrew midwives named Shifra and Puah. And by the way, the Hebrew of the Torah is ambiguous. We don't really know if they were the midwives to the Hebrews, or were they Hebrew midwives? Were they themselves Jews who tended to the Jewish women, or were they Egyptian women who tended to the Jewish women when they were giving birth? We don't know. The English is ambiguous, and the Hebrew is ambiguous. But these two women, Shiphrah and Puah, are commanded by the Pharaoh to immediately murder all of the firstborn male Jewish babies. And we all know that if you destroy the male of a species, any species, it's genocide. It will eventually mean the end of that species. So this was an attempted genocide of the Jewish people. And Shiphrah and Puah, two names that most Jews don't know of, never heard of. They're not in the Haggadah. They're not in the Passover story. And in my opinion, these two women deserve their own holiday the way Esther has a holiday on Purim. These are the two most morally remarkable people, not just women, people in the Torah. Because what do? They refuse to follow the illegal, immoral orders of the Pharaoh. They refuse to salute the Pharaoh. They lie to him. They allow the Hebrew baby boys to live. And they lie to the Pharaoh and tell him that these women give birth so quickly that they're not even there in time to follow his orders, to carry out his orders. These two remarkable women, Shiphrah and Puah, I honestly believe they should have their own Jewish holiday. They're so heroic because they stand up to evil. And I want to say a word about standing up to evil tonight, particularly evil directed at the Jewish people. But these words are not mine. They're the very, very powerful words of Menachem Begin, who was the prime minister of Israel in the late 70s and early 80s, and a survivor of the horror of Eastern Europe. And Menachem Begin put it best in 1981. I just gave you in my Shabbat message today only the first 2 or 3 sentences of what he had to say in response to a question. And the question was posed to him by a group of Americans in 1981 visiting with him. And they asked him, what, Prime Minister Begin, in your view, are the lessons of the Holocaust for Jews today? And this is what he said. And this is going to take a few minutes, but I think it's so powerful and so important that I want to bring it to everyone's attention tonight. And here's what he said. First, if an enemy of our people says he seeks to destroy us, believe him. Don't doubt him for a moment. Don't make light of it. Do all in your power to deny him the means of carrying out his satanic intent. Second, when a Jew anywhere is threatened or under attack, do all in your power to come to his aid. Never pause to wonder what the world will think or say. The world will never pity slaughtered Jews. The world may not necessarily like the fighting Jew, but the world will have to take account of him. Third, a Jew must learn to defend himself. He must forever be prepared for whenever threat looms. Fourth, Jewish dignity and honor must be protected in all circumstances. The seeds of Jewish destruction lie in passively enabling the enemy to humiliate us. Only when the enemy succeeds in turning the spirit of the Jew into dust and ashes in life can he turn the Jew into dust and ashes in death. During the Holocaust, it was after the enemy had humiliated the Jews, trampled them underfoot, divided them, deceived them, afflicted them, drove brother against brother. Only then could he lead them almost without resistance to the gates of Auschwitz. Therefore, at all times, and whatever the cost, safeguard the dignity and honor of the Jewish people. Fifth, stand united in the face of the enemy. We Jews love life, for life is holy. But there are things in life more precious than life itself. There are times when one must risk life for the sake of rescuing the lives of others. And when the few risk their own lives for the sake of the many, then they too stand the chance of saving themselves. Sixth, there is a pattern to Jewish history. In our long annals as a nation, we rise, we fall, we return, we are exiled, we are enslaved, we rebel, we liberate ourselves, we are oppressed once more, we rebuild, and again we suffer destruction, climaxing in our own lifetime in the calamity of calamities, the Holocaust. But this was followed by the rebirth of the Jewish state. So yes, we have come full circle, and with God's help, with the rebirth of sovereign Israel, we have finally broken the historic cycle. No more destruction, no more defeats, and no more oppression. Only Jewish liberty with dignity and honor. These, I believe, are the underlying lessons to be learned from the unspeakable tragedy of the Holocaust. So what do Shifra and Pua in our Torah portion and the words of Menachem Begin about the lessons of the Holocaust have to do with all of us? They are both a clarion call to stand up against what is wrong, to stand up in peace, to stand up with dignity and integrity, but to stand up nevertheless to protect our Jewish people. Let us never be complacent. Let us be like Shifra and Pua. And then, Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people, will truly live in peace and in beauty and in justice and in Torah and in God. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Okay, so that was beautiful, Rabbi Leader. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So as we talked about in the beginning of this service, as hard as it was to come into Shabbat, we are commanded to celebrate joy. We are commanded to celebrate Shabbat. And this Shabbat is called Celebration Shabbat. And we want to take a moment to celebrate all of the amazing life cycle events that are occurring within our community, birthdays, anniversaries, B'nai Mitzvah. And so you've all sent in pictures of your incredible celebrations, and we have a chance virtually to celebrate them as one community. So we just want to say Mazal Tov to all of the video pictures that we are about to see, and we offer them a Shehechianu, that we thank God for giving them life, for sustaining us, and for allowing each and every one of you to reach those milestones. I know they look different this year, but nonetheless, you have reached them, and we shall celebrate them as a community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu
Beautiful, so beautiful. And now we're almost at the conclusion of our service, but it's time for us to enter into moments of Kaddish and moments of memory. And as I said before the Misha Berach, there's a tremendous amount of loss in our nation and in our state and in our city and in our congregation. Many Wilshire Boulevard Temple members are mourning the loss of a loved one this Shabbat. The Kaddish list is very long. So let us have empathy and compassion for all who are suffering, all who have suffered loss. We hold them in our hearts. We hold them in our prayers as we enter now into moments of Kaddish and memory.
We begin now with the names of those loved ones of our congregation who have died during this Shloshim, this past 30 days. Jack Adelstein, Alan Burns, Joanne Burton, Yaakov Masoud Dardashti, Rabbi Stuart Davis, Alice Feldman, Harvey Foreman, Florence Gamm, Adele Habibi, Kwang Chuhin, Susan Eisenberg, Fega Kustanovich, Soliman Newman, Irving Sid Shulman, Beth Shapira, Julia Taylor, Estelle Walks, Jack Weinberg, Theodore Weiner, Joyce Wolf, and Yaakov Ben Yitzchak. We add to their names the names of those whose yortzites, the anniversary of whose deaths, were commemorated during this past week. Olga Ackerman, Jeanette Agay, Harold Alden, Zell Barada, Paul Baum, Selma Becker, Pauline Berkowitz, Burton Burson, Sherman Brody, Louis Brown, Patricia Brooks, Brian Burns, Suzanne Chartrand, Eve Shervin, Elise Klaus, Al Cohen, Michael Connor, Minnie Crystal, Andrea Eimer, Rosalie Epstein, Jean Fagadov, Julius Feldstein, Craig Fisher, Florence Fisher, Goldie Gelfand, Celia Gelman, Dorothy Gerber, Maurice Getz, Joan Goldsmith, Joseph Gomberg, Ethel Gordon, Milton Gray, Jacob Heyman, Jerry Hallsband, Selma Hanover, Janice Harwood, Albert Harris, Richard Heitner, Fred Hedler, Ruth Hilborn, Stanley Hockman, Sid Horn, Claire Horwitz, Bernice Janofsky, Rosalie Kallman, David Kamens, Leonard Konofsky, Yehuda Katan, Helen Keene, Hilda Keith, Calvin Kleiman, Louis Kapulski, Betty Cooperstock, Roy Landstrom, Bernard Lax, Sariana Lebedev, William Lockheim, Murray Lubliner, Norman Malin, Frank Markowitz, Madeline Maslin, Phyllis Myers, Michael Miller, Joan Minkin-Levy, Sam Morgaline, Aaliyah Normand, Pearl Polachek, Sanford Reisenbach, Kay Rodstein, Alex Rosenberg, Ann Rosenblatt, Lisa Rose, Esther Russo, Samantha Sachs, Roberta Samsky, Bluma Samuels, I.J. Schiff, Louis Shadlin, Arlene Shapiro, Herbert Shapiro, Gladys Siegel, Robert Simon, Sarah Smook, Helen Sobin, Abraham Solomon, Barry Solomon, Irma Sperrer, Robert Stein, Mildred Stern, Irving Stokes, Sanford Tischerman, Betty Umansky, Catherine Wallen, Shelley Walter, Herman Warren, Maxine Warren, Elaine Warsaw, Emmanuel Weber, Lorraine Uyghur, Rose Weiner, Ron Weir, Lauren Weissman, Jesse White, Yaakov Yankovich, and Barbie Zola. We add to their names the names of those we do not know but to whom we are deeply grateful. All of those who have died defending the United States of America and the State of Israel, the innocent victims of senseless terrorism and tragedy and suffering all over the world, and everyone who has no one to say Kaddish for them. We take them all as our own as we join together now in Kaddish.
Please rise, everyone. Let's have the words, please, Don. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba. Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imeru. Amen. Yehe shemei Rabba mevorach leolam oamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'alma v'imeru. Amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uyaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen.
We conclude our service with the words of Oseh Shalom. We ask that may God, who makes peace in the heavens, bring peace and comfort to all of us here on earth. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom, Rabbi Leader.
Shabbat shalom, Cantor, Peicott. Let's leave the world behind this day and enjoy Shabbat and enjoy your families. And remember, pray with your finger this weekend. Call someone you love who you know needs to hear from you. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.